Welcome to the Sober Addict Podcast. I'm your host, Zachary Dolce. This podcast is about the fight nobody sees, the thoughts you don't post, the battles that don't look dramatic but feel heavy. If you're sober, trying to get sober, or just tired of fighting your own mind, you're in the right place. Take a breath. You don't have to be strong here. I want to be clear right from the start. This podcast exists because, to be honest, I couldn't find something like it, especially when I needed it the most. Now, I did find, obviously, motivation and recovery slogans and a bunch of people telling me how great life gets. But what I didn't find was someone talking about what it's actually like to be sober and still struggling with it. Still being anxious, still being tired, still fighting. So that's exactly what this is. I didn't choose the name The Sober Addict to sound edgy. I chose it because it's honest. Because even when the substances leave, the addict mindset doesn't always go with them. It just changes form. It becomes overthinking, obsessing, self-blame, control, fear, needing relief. What people don't get is you can be sober, but still be fighting addiction every single day. Nobody really prepares you for that. I'm not here to give you a highlight reel. I've been broken. I've made plenty of mistakes. I've hurt numerous people that I care about. I even hurt myself. I use substances to avoid the pain and to avoid myself. Sobriety forced me to sit with everything I spent years trying not to feel. That part doesn't get glamorized, but it's real. Somewhere along the way, sobriety got sold as peace. Like one day you wake up and everything's just lighter. But sobriety doesn't remove pain. It removes the escape. To be honest, you feel more, you remember more, you think more. And for people like us, thinking can definitely be dangerous. There are days I wake up exhausted before the day even started. Not because anything happened, but because my mind never really shut off. That doesn't mean sobriety isn't working. It means it's honest. Now, let's talk about the tiredness. Not like physical tired, but the kind where your soul feels worn down, where simple things feel heavy, where existing takes effort. Now, I just want you to know if this is you, just hear this. You're not lazy, you're not broken. You're healing while carrying weight most people never had to carry. That takes energy. I use the phrase still fighting all the time. It's actually the title of one of my books. Now, I use it because I needed language that didn't lie. Still fighting doesn't mean still failing, not even close. It means I haven't quit, I haven't gone backwards, I haven't given in, even when I wanted to. When I was using, I was losing quietly. Now, I'm fighting consciously, and that matters. This podcast is for you if You're sober but still struggling. You feel behind in life. You're tired of pretending you're okay. You want honesty instead of hype. You just want to feel less alone. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't about being fixed. It's about staying alive long enough to rebuild something real, something that you strive for, something that you want. If you're listening to this on a rough day, you don't need to fix your life today. You don't need answers. You definitely don't need clarity. You just need to not give up today. That's it. One day doesn't define you. But you know what does? Quitting. And we're not going to quit. In this podcast, we'll talk about a bunch of different things: anxiety, relapse thoughts, guilt, shame, growth, healing, and especially learning how to live without destroying yourself. Some episodes definitely will be heavy. Some will be short. Some will just be reminders. But every episode will definitely be real. Today I want to talk about something that surprised me way more than anything else about sobriety. During sobriety, my mind got louder. Not quieter, not calmer, louder. I really thought sobriety would quiet my thoughts. I thought once the substances were gone, my head would slow down, that I'd feel peace, or clarity, or at least relief. Instead, everything I used to mute came back with a microphone. Thoughts I didn't even know I had, memories I buried, fears I ignored. All of it showed up at once, and nobody warned me about that. There's this idea that sobriety equals calm, that once you're clean, your nervous system just resets. For some people, maybe. For me, it felt like my brain finally had room to talk, and it definitely had a lot to say. Some days my thoughts feel nonstop, like there's no off switch, even on the good days, but especially on the quiet ones. Here's something I definitely didn't expect. Silence became uncomfortable. When there's nothing going on, no noise, no distraction, no chaos, my mind fills with the space. It replays conversations, it rewrites the past, it imagines futures that haven't even happened, and it almost always assumes the worst. And that's beyond exhausting. I had to admit something hard to myself. I didn't just use substances to escape the pain. I used them to escape my thoughts. But now that I'm sober, my brain looks for other ways to do the same thing. Overthinking became my new drug. Analyzing everything. Obsessing over outcomes. Trying to predict and control the future. It feels productive, but it's not. It's just another form of avoidance. I spent a lot of time asking myself why my mind works like this. And here's a couple things I've learned. My brain learned survival early. It learned to scan for danger, to prepare for the worst, to stay alert. That kept me safe once, but now it's just keeps me anxious. My brain doesn't know the difference between real danger and emotional discomfort, so it treats everything like a threat. Anxiety sober is different. You can numb it, you can't outrun it, you have to feel it. The tight chest, the racing thoughts, the restlessness, and the hardest part, people assume you're fine because you're sober. They don't see the internal noise that comes with it. Some days I'm not sad, I'm not angry, I'm not craving, I'm just tired. Mentally tired. From thinking all day, from managing my emotions, from holding myself together. That kind of exhaustion doesn't show. And because it doesn't show, it doesn't get acknowledged. One thing sobriety did teach me is not every thought deserves attention. My first thought is usually fear-based, or self-critical, or catastrophic. Just because a thought is loud doesn't mean it's true. Learning that has been a huge part of staying sober. Even sober, the urge to escape still shows up. Not always as substances. Sometimes it's isolation, sleeping too much, doom scrolling, fantasizing about a different life, wanting everything to just stop. That urge doesn't mean I'm failing, it means I'm human. I'm not going to give you a system or steps or hacks, but I'll tell you what helps me sometimes. I slow down. I stop trying to solve everything. I stop arguing with my thoughts. I remind myself, I don't need to figure this out right now. That sentence has saved me more times than I can count. This is the part of recovery that feels endless. Not the beginning, not the breakthrough, the middle. Where you're sober long enough to feel everything, but not far enough to feel settled. That's where people give up. Not because they don't care, but because they're tired. Still fighting doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's just sitting with discomfort, not reacting immediately, letting feelings pass, staying when you want to run. That's real strength. Quiet strength. Comparing your internal experience to someone else's external life will absolutely destroy you. You don't know how loud their mind is. You don't know what they're fighting. You only know your own battle, and that's enough. One of the biggest shifts for me was changing how I talk to myself. Not positive affirmations, not hype, just less cruelty. If I wouldn't say it to someone that I love, I try not to say it to myself. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't always succeed, but I definitely try. There are days I don't feel grateful for sobriety. That doesn't mean I want to go back. Absolutely not. Again, it just means I'm tired. Gratitude isn't constant, but commitment is. If you feel like your mind is louder now than ever, you're not crazy. You're not broken. You're not doing sobriety wrong. You're finally hearing yourself. Learning how to live with that takes time. Sometimes it takes some people longer than others. Now, I stay sober because even with the noise, even with the exhaustion, even with the days I feel stuck, I have a chance now, a real one. And I didn't have that before. If this episode felt heavy, that's okay. You don't need to feel better right now. You don't need answers. You just need to know you're not alone in this. Your mind being loud doesn't mean you're weak. It means you survived something. And you're still here. Still fighting. I know this is the first episode of the podcast, and I'm new to this. That's the only way I can put it. But what I can promise you is that to any of my listeners, I will try and help as much as I can. Maybe give you some guidance, help you make peace within yourself. I really just need to get this out there to help other people the way I wish I could have been helped. Throughout this journey, we're probably going to have some guests on here that will explain their life experiences. I'll dive into my life experiences. We'll try to have fun, but we'll do whatever we need to keep fighting. This is the Sober Addict Podcast. Remember, you don't need to win today. You just can't quit today. I'll talk to you next time.